Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back for another live stream flight. I'm off work this week, so I just thought I'd come on a bit earlier and do an afternoon flight. Let me just check the volumes are all correct. Let me just bear with me, guys. Just because this one is an important one. I thought I would explain a lot of things on what I'm actually doing to set up a flight if anybody's a beginner to the same. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, any beginners out there that want to learn the same? I know my friend Steve is learning the same. So I just thought I'd do a few pointers of what I do on each and every flight before I start streaming. Let me just get my notes out. I always have my notes in front of me, even though I have been flying for nearly nearly 2 years on the sim, and I'll be getting uh, Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 as a late birthday present. It'll be on Game Pass on the 19th of November. But next week, I'm not too sure about my flying schedule because Farming Sim 25 is released on next Tuesday. And then next Wednesday it's my birthday, so I'm not too sure of my flight schedule next week, but I will let you all know. But yeah, in the meantime, just watch this space. Um, but yeah, this is the obviously, main screen as it opens um, when you open the game. So obviously you go to flight world map, sorry. Then here you press the thumbnail. Like a lot of people have asked me how to get my call sign on, when it says Jody123, how people have asked me how do I actually do that. So it's here. So you press the picture of the airplane, then you go to customization, and then it's here. So call sign. And then obviously I've got Jody in there, but you can put whatever you wish. And then obviously your flight number 123. So every time they speak to me, every time ATC speak to me, they say Jody 123. So that's how you do that. I always fly the Airbus A320neo, so this is this one. So obviously under aircraft selection, obviously you can do all your selection of aircraft here, but I always use the Airbus A320neo. Then also liveries. So obviously when you download a livery or the standard in-game liveries are here. So obviously I choose a livery to match the flight that I'm doing. So in this instance we're going to the Philippines. So I choose a Philippine airline. So this is obviously, but obviously if I was to go to, you can scroll up, there's Monarch, there's Middle East, but it all depends on what add-ons and liveries that you've got, but they'll be all here listed. But yeah, there's absolutely loads to choose from, so that's how you do that. I've done the first line already, but it don't matter. So obviously you set up your departure. If you know the airport code, that is better at finding it. You just type it in here, press 3 lines to enter, and then it's always at the top. So you always enter that. Then I always select the arrival, same again, airport code in there. Press the 3 lines once you've typed it in, and then it's always the top one. So obviously I always do low altitude airlines, so drop down menu here, IFR, low altitude airlines. So you select that and it sort of like comes up with like a path here. But we don't want to do that. We want to make it better because it's obviously selected this and we don't really want to do that. We don't want to go to runway 6. We don't want to have departures direct. You don't want arrivals direct and you don't want approach automatic. You want to sort of make a customization of that. So what I do, don't know why my controller is not working. There we go. So by the way, you zoom in, pressing R2 on the controller, and then you zoom out with L2. Sorry. Well, it's LT and RT, but obviously I'm used to PlayStation, but it's the bottom triggers. So what I do is I zoom into my departure runway, I like obviously airport, and then I look on a certain website as to um, know which runway to use for my departure. So in this instance, I've looked on the website before I went live, and it's either 24 or 13. So that's 6, that's 24, that's 31, and that's 13. So I try to pick a gate that's near the runway, so I don't really have a long taxi. So what I tend to do is I try to pick one in the middle or near the runway. It doesn't really matter if you want to do a long taxi, that's up to you. But you know, I'll just pick gate 33. That's my age at the moment. So you just press that as departure. So it's changed it. So you zoom back in, and now you can see like a little green dot, and then that's telling you that that is where it's going to set you up. It's not going to set you up on the runway, which you don't want. You want to start the aircraft up and do whatever you need to do, and then you need to taxi and then take off. And also it says here as well, so it doesn't say runway whatever. Just make sure it says gate whatever and make sure that the green dot is there. Then you go to the departure, drop down. So these are all the departures. So we could go to 24. So if you press on the 24, you can see your departure path. So the orange line is your departure path. And then for some reason it goes north, then it goes in a concertina, then yeah, all over the shop. So you don't really want that. You want to have a more straightforward departure. So just go to the next one. see what that's like, zoom out. So the orange line is your departure. That's a little bit better because you've got your orange departure line. So are you going from there, taking off, then you're going out a little bit over some sort of bridge, and then you're going down, and then pretty much straight down. So this is all about choosing a departure that makes sense because the first one was all over the place. So you can just keep choosing them really and then just pick one that you obviously want to do. Like this one is like sort of going out, going down, going out, and then going down. Um, but obviously it's up to you what sort of um um flight path you want to take. So there's that one. There's like, you're pretty much turning and then heading down. So yeah, you just sort of like making a personal choice here, but you don't want to make it too complicated. Otherwise, it'll be like, what's happening here? It's like here, it's like pretty much going away. Like a far way out and then coming back in. So yeah, it's just picking the one that best suits the departure. So I think I'll choose this. So you're going out a little bit and then coming back in and then straight down. So that's that done. So that's your departure done. Then you go, obviously, this is follow the line down. So, obviously, the orange line is your departure, your blue line is your cruising altitude. Then you just follow it down, and then this is our arrival, which is another island in the Philippines, but obviously, whatever you've selected. Then what I do is you need to choose your um, arrival and approach. So what I tend to do is I always choose my approach first. So again, using the live airport, air traffic control information website that I use, I know that this airport currently is using ILS 05. So you just select that. Your magenta line is your approach. So that's a bit weird. It's like going out and then coming back in. But that's because you haven't changed your arrival. So you need to press your arrival and then again just pick one that makes sense. So that's a bit weird because the green line is your arrival. So you're actually going over the airport, going far out and then coming far in again. So that doesn't make much sense to me. So you go to the next one. No. So just wait for it to change. Hopefully it will change. Okay, for some reason it doesn't change, so we'll have to keep looking. Um, so yeah, this one's a weird approach basically, because you're basically flying over the airport, turning, and then you're basically going back on yourself, like a real sort of turn, like out to this point here, and then you're gonna turn back and then line up with the runway. Some have like ziggety lines, some of them have curved lines, but again, you just use the one that makes sense because you're not going to choose one that's all like complicated, just choose one that's more, um, not easier, but more, um, makes sense. This doesn't make much sense, but it will obviously once we get flying. So let me just change that actually. So we'll just change it to that one because it says 05, so it knows that we're going to 05 um, runway. So that's all that done. Um, right, so the last thing you need to check is the nav log. So here it shows you all your waypoints during the flight and what they're called. And obviously this is like the heading, the altitude you're supposed to be at, but I don't really take notice of that. All I really need to know is your cruise altitude, which is here in this box. You can change it. Sometimes it's like 36.6, like sometimes it's 36,000 950 feet, something like that. But you can always change it to, to round it up to the nearest 1,000 feet if you want. Sometimes I do that. But for that instance, we're basically going to 37,000 feet. So we'll just take note of that. I'll just write it down. Then the most important thing is that you need to write down your descent altitude, your descent waypoint. So you can obviously see where the slope is. That is obviously your descent. Obviously, when it's going up, that is your climb altitude. This level is your cruising altitude. And then obviously, when it's going down, that is where you're going to do your descending. That is where your descent starts. So obviously, this point here is where your descent starts. So what I do is I make a note of that. So it's AROLA. So that's that. Then we press circle. No, not circle. Because we're not on the PlayStation. We're on the Xbox. So we press B. Let me just sort this person out. I'm not interested in advertising and all that sort of stuff. I'm just doing um I'm just doing what I love doing really. So yeah, I'm not interested. But yeah, back to it. So obviously we've taken note of our descent waypoint. So obviously we're ready to fly basically. So yeah, that's the basic setup for the flight. Just check that everything's fine. So you've got a bit of an arrival here. So obviously the blue line is our cruising, then our arrival is like the green line, and then our approach is the magenta line. So let me just go back to our airport departure. Yep, so the green dot is still on the gate and not the runway. You can see a little green dot there. So yeah, that's very important. So obviously we're all set up. We can press fly basically. and then it'll load us in. Normally it takes a lot longer, like the last little bit here, but it does eventually load. Yeah, we'll get this aircraft up and then we'll get flying. So what I'll try to do is I'll try explain what buttons I'm pressing and what I'm actually doing to the aircraft to um, get things going, get things done. As I say, I do have my manual at the side of me all the time. You know, if you get distracted and if you are streaming, sometimes you do sort of lose it a little bit. So if you are streaming, I would recommend that you do have the manual at the side of you. What I will do is I will change time. So to change time, I've got the Flow Essentials. The Flow Essentials wheel, but if you are using the standard version of the game, your checklist and etc. will appear at the top here. But it's the same principle. It's like got your tick mark, you've got your tower, you've got, stuff like that. So what I will do is I'll just change the time because it is dark. It is about 8:30 at night. So let me, just so I can show you guys, like, let's change it to whatever time it is in the UK. So it's raining, so we'll change it to 12:30. It is about 1 o'clock here in the UK, so we'll just change it to that basically. So there we go. It is raining, you can hear the raining. So change cockpit view to outside plane. It's like the two screens button at the side of your left analog stick on the controller. Now obviously you just use your thumbstick to move, well, obviously the aircraft round to what angle you want, and then obviously press it again to go back in. Right, so now we need to set the aircraft up. So we press the left trigger button in. Obviously this is all on the controller, it will be different whatever you are choosing. But obviously for all my flights I'm using the controller. I think it's a Series 2 controller, I think. It's very comfortable. So obviously you press the left trigger in and then you can see the tick mark. Obviously I've got the Flow Essentials, so it's like a wheel. Obviously I mentioned earlier, if you've got the basic standard game, it'll come along the top of the screen. But it's the same principle, you just press it and then it just says before starting engine, you just press that and then you just press auto complete page. And then this is when you need to take note of your climb altitude and then do a few other things, but I will show you. So you press that and it'll start talking to you.
Clearance delivery Jody 123 IFR to Davo, ready to copy.
Jody 123 is cleared to Davo Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 24 climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Departure frequency is 124 decimal for squawk 7221.
Jody 123 cleared to Davo Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 24 climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Departure on 124 decimal for squawk 7221.
Jody 123, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.8. Good day.
So you basically press the left trigger in so you can obviously move like this. So how I'm moving is you press LB and then you move the left trigger in, but make sure that you are pressing LB before you do move things, because if you do, it'll move the aircraft, which you don't want to do. So whenever you zoom in and zoom out, just make sure that you are holding the LB button, and then obviously use your directions. So obviously we need to do the altitude. So I took note of it. It is 8,000 feet, and then you just, to press it, you press, you press the A button, then you press the right trigger button to, change the altitude that you want, and then press X on the controller to activate it, then press B to exit it, then press your LB to zoom out. Then we need the flight director on, so to activate it just press A, go up to it and just press A. Then we need to do the barometric pressure. Well, if you have a keyboard plugged in, you just press B, the letter B, and it changes it. So we're on 2983, so that's all good. So what I tend to do is just zoom out a little bit, press the left trigger in again, and then scroll across and do starting engine, and start the engine. This does take a while to do, so what I tend to do is I just leave it to it, press the left trigger in, press the LB, and then just zoom in. If you want to zoom in, you press LB and LT at the same time, just make sure that you are pressing them at the same time. And then to select, just press A, and then obviously they're the lights, obviously put them on. Then this is important, you need perf, and then you need to select 1 and 0, so you can see it there at the bottom, 1 0, and then you need to press the third one down, they're your flaps. So you need to make sure that your flaps are set, so outside view, and then press down on the D-pad. Press down on the D-pad to get your flaps sorted. Then obviously we need to press flight plan. So that's obviously our flight plan, whatever it wants us to do, the altitude we're supposed to be at, etc. Then we need to set our speed brakes. Our speed brakes are here, so we need to press A, then it highlights it yellow. Then we need to press up, like move the right trigger up and put them to armed. They must be armed, otherwise when we land they're not going to brake, and we'll be, going off the runway and we'll be in trouble. So they need to be armed. So press B to, they're set, they're armed. Then we need to, what I tend to do is so to go up and down, to go down you press LT, but make sure that your LB is pressed in, and then to go up you press LB and RT on the triggers basically. So what I do is I press the panels as well, which are there, scope light, put that on, put the runway lights on, I'm selecting these by pressing A and then obviously pressing, don't need our landing gear yet, just press A and then it just turns the switch. There we go. With this one you need to press A and then press the R trigger to whatever you want. So obviously it's off, taxi or take off. So for this instant we use taxi. Then we go across to seat belts, put them on, and then the smoking. Obviously we don't want anybody smoking on the flight, as of, you know, it's prohibited on a flight. So yeah, right. So our engines are stable. They're on. You can see them here as well. You can see them here, but you don't need to touch anything. But they are in the green. So obviously, you know, just go with it, really. To reset it to the middle as well, so obviously if you're here for example and you're looking at this and you want to set it to the middle again, just press your right trigger, right joystick in on the controller and it just sets you back into the middle, which is quite handy when you're actually doing things and you need to get back to the middle view. Then we need to do after starting engine, and then we just need to press auto complete page, and then that's pretty much it. Our setup is done. I press the cross, just check everything's fine, that's fine, and yeah, we're ready for taxi. So left trigger in, press the tower, and then we go to ground services, request pushback.
Ground Jody 12 tree requesting pushback.
Get rid of that.
Jody 12 tree pushback request accepted.
Make sure that your parking brake is not on, so press left on the D-pad, so that's on, that green writing, so make sure it's off. So now we're going to reverse out, they're going to pull us back, push us back, sorry. And then it'll just push us back, like so. So just let it do its thing, it'll stop once we get to the end, so there's not much I'm doing now, my hands are not on the controller, just let it do its thing, let it push the aircraft back.
Ground Jody 12 tree requesting the end of pushback.
Jody 12 tree request to end pushback received.
Ground Jody 12 tree with Charlie ready to taxi IFR.
Jody 12 tree taxi to and hold short of runway 24 via taxiway, Lima Golf Tree Cross runway tree 1 Foxtrot 5 Alpha, Golf 2 Golf 1 Charlie Tree Charlie 2 Charlie 1 Hotel 1. Contact tower on 118.4 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 24 via taxiway Lima Golf Tree Cross runway tree 1 Foxtrot 5 Alpha Golf 2 Golf 1 Charlie Tree Charlie 2 Charlie 1 Hotel 1 Jody 12 tree.
So yeah, we've got a bit of a taxi on his hands here, but obviously the ATC is telling us which way to go for our taxi to the runway. So basically what I do is just ease up on the throttle, so press A, throttle up, and then we turn using the bottom triggers on the controller, which is LT to go to left, and RT to go to right. So basically just nice and steady, press the A button so we move a little bit forward. There we go, you'll feel it vibrate when you are obviously moving, so obviously add some more once you start moving. Turn the aircraft in the direction that it needs you to taxi. So that's that. So yeah, basically just LT and RT, the bottom triggers to, to steer the aircraft. You can change the camera angle as well, pressing the right joystick so you know where you're going. If you are going a little bit fast, just press the B button to throttle down and press the X slightly to brake the aircraft. And just follow the line really, just follow the blue line. We are going a little bit slow now, so just throttle up a little bit, press the A button. So it's just like balancing it a bit, not go too fast, nice and steady, but I'm guessing we are going to the end of here. When you notice you are going a little bit fast, just press the B button slightly, press the B button and just press the X to brake the aircraft if you are going a little bit too fast for your taxi. Also, whilst you are taxiing, press the B button on the keyboard if you have a keyboard plugged into the Xbox to reset your altimeter so the air traffic control know where you are in relation to your taxi. So you can see there's a little few corners here. Just keep resetting that altimeter by pressing the B on the keyboard, just so they know where we are, ready for departure. So what I do is I tend to slow down for these corners because you don't want to be going full belt because we'll go straight into like the other side of the runway. We'll go too fast for the corner, so it's just like basically driving a car basically, just like when you're going straight you can have more acceleration. If you are turning, like a tight turn, you ease off, you brake a little bit. So it's just like, I suppose if you do drive a car, it's more like that. The best way to explain it is like that. So we'll press B. Just for this corner, press X so you don't go too fast around the corner. Press B again. Press X, turn the aircraft to the direction that you want it to, and then throttle up again, and then obviously there's another turn here, so we just compensate that. We are going a bit slow now, so just throttle up a little bit more. Just so we go around this corner and then throttle back down again. So yeah, it's basically a balancing act, so it's, there's no right or wrong way of doing it, but you don't want to be, smashing into there or smashing into there. Just nice and gentle. With the aircraft. Obviously once you do it every week like I do, it's pretty straightforward. Once you you know, once you do it every week, you know, it's just second nature, you just do it. So slow down a little bit. Press the altimeter because we're near the foot of the runway. And then once we get to the foot of the runway where the blue line stops, just stop there and wait for your clearance to land. Clearance to take off, sorry. So just press the B button and the X button so you do brake. So yeah, what it wants us to do is just stop on that line and then wait for air traffic to give us instruction for our takeoff. So just wait for that and then we'll be on our way. So just nice and slowly approach the line till the
Manila Tower Jody 123
there we
ready
go.
for IFR departure runway 24.
Jody 123 altimeter 29.8 wind 272 at 8. Cleared for takeoff runway 24.
Cleared for takeoff runway 24 Jody 123.
So we're clear for takeoff, so it's obviously showing us like the direction to use this runway. So what I tend to do is obviously just turn onto the runway like this. Not too fast because you do want to use all the runway depending on what aircraft you are using. So what I'll do is I'll just straighten her up, just use the use the white line with your front wheel to line her up on the runway because you want it as straight as possible. You don't want to be taking off all, you know, wonky. So what I do is throttles to idle, so press the B, and then parking brake, which is the left on D-pad. Right, so next page of my manual. Right, so left trigger in, oh sorry no, not left trigger in, LB and move to the lights. We need, when it lets me do it, we need them to take off. So press the right trigger in, we need this view for takeoff. Here we go, so what I do is I just do final check, just check your flaps are down to 10% for takeoff, which they are. And then basically what we're going to do, I'm going to explain what we're going to do and then I'm going to do it as I'm doing it. So basically we've got our parking brake on, so we take the parking brake off and accelerate using the A button, full belt, just press it down. Then we look at our screen here and there will be like a magenta marking, and that's where our V1 is, and that's where we rotate the nose up. When we rotate, gently lift, pull back on the left trigger gently, not too harshly, just gently, to lift the nose of the aircraft off the ground. Then what I do is once we are airborne, I lift the landing gear, then I lift the flaps, pressing the up on the D-pad. And then what you need to do is you need to obviously go down to here, because our throttles are idle at the minute, but once we get acceleration they'll be up here. But for flight to take place we need to push our throttles back to the CL position, so it'll be just a case of pressing the B button on the controller to bring our throttles back to CL position, and then that's basically it really. And then press Y for autopilot. So yeah, so that is, I'll do it and I'll explain it as I'm doing it. Right, so parking brake off, throttle up, press the A button down, our engines are going, keep the aircraft in the middle, steer it onto the middle, just make sure you're as straight as possible till we get to V1. Our V1 is there, 160 knots, so just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Press the left trigger back, left joystick, sorry, still pressing the A button, landing gear, autopilot, flap,
Jody 12 tree contact departure on
and then
124
press
decimal
B
4.
to CL position. Make sure that this is in CL
124
position.
decimal 4 Jody 12 tree. Goodbye. Departure Jody 12 tree is at 1,700 feet, climbing 8,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree departure altimeter 29er decimal 8 tree radar contact. Continue.
So yeah, you must remember to have this in CL position, otherwise it's not going to work, it's going to oversteer, and then obviously make sure that you press Y when you do take off.
Jody 12 tree contact Manila Center on 128 decimal tree.
For
Good
your
day.
autopilot, make sure Y is pressed. on the
128 decimal
controller.
tree Jody 12 tree. Goodbye. Manila Center Jody 12 tree is passing 6,500 feet, climbing 8,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree Manila Center altimeter 29er decimal 8 tree radar contact. Continue. Jody 12 tree climb and maintain 13,000 feet.
So do as it says.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet Jody 12 tree.
Jody
13.
12 tree contact departure on 124 decimal 4. Good day.
Going to 124 decimal 4 Jody 12 tree. Departure Jody 12 tree is passing 8,500 feet, climbing 13,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree departure altimeter 29er decimal 8 tree radar contact. Continue.
So
Jody
basically,
12 tree contact
wait a
Manila
minute.
Center on 128 decimal tree. Good day.
Going to 128 decimal tree Jody 12 tree. Manila Center Jody 12 tree is passing 10,800 feet, climbing 13,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree Manila Center altimeter 29er decimal 8 tree radar contact. Continue to Tala. Jody 12 tree climb and maintain flight level 210.
do as it says. Climb.
Climb and maintain flight level 210 Jody 12 tree.
So what we're basically doing is we are climbing as it tells us to climb. So just hear what they're saying to you. As long as your autopilot is on and activated the AP1, then it is going to follow, then it should follow the green flight path. Sometimes it's a bit dodgy on some departures, but this one seems to be alright. just do as ATC tell you. Like at the start it told me to go to 13,000 feet, so I dialed that in. Then once you get to that altitude, it'll tell you to go to another altitude, which is 21,000 feet. And then just keep looking at your altitude here. So we're at 15,000 feet now. We need to get ready with the barometric pressure. So we need to press this once we are above 18,000 feet. So we'll do that in a second. So it's nearly 17,000 feet. Just keep climbing. So yeah, this flight is more of an educational flight. So yeah, it'll help the beginners. So we're above 18, so you press it in by pressing A and then press X and it changes it to standard. Press B and then move away from it and then that's set. What I do as well is I change my ND
Jody
range.
123 climb and maintain flight level 310.
Climb and maintain flight level 310, Jody 123.
Here we go. 310, which is 31,000 feet. So it's doing its thing. So obviously it's on its way to cruising altitude. So what I do is I change this ND range so I can see a little bit further what's to come. So there I've just changed it to the next waypoint. So our next waypoint is in 31 nautical miles. So it's here, 31, well it says 30, well just 30 here now. So that's your distance. I think that's the time. That's the degrees, that's the wind direction, and something to do with like the wind speed, etc. I just look at the arrow, me. That's telling us that we are in sort of a wind direction thing. It is pushing us a little bit. It's not too drastic. So yeah, basically just keep doing your altitude changes, climb out of the airplane, of the departure. At this point I would take a picture, you know, sometimes when I am streaming I do take a picture of my takeoff, but obviously this is just like an educational video. Yeah, you can take videos by, you can take pictures by pressing the left trigger in, and then the camera, so you can change the camera angle. So this is the cockpit, external, and showcase where you can move it around. So there we go. So there's different camera angles that you can do, but I don't really do them as much, but you can do them. The only thing about the cameras is just make sure that you are in the cockpit for obviously the important stuff. We are still climbing to 31,000 feet. But yeah, we're pretty much suppressed. What I do is I look at my instruments throughout the flight, sorry. Press LB, LT together, so you can focus in, use your joysticks to focus in whatever you want to look at on the flight deck. So what I do is I just focus on that so I can see everything. I know that we've got 9 nautical miles near enough to the next waypoint. We'll be slightly turning left, and we're pretty much on our way to cruising altitude. Yeah, we'll get our next altitude change shortly, and that'll be probably to 37,000 feet.
Jody 1-2 tree climb and maintain flight level tree 70.
Climb and maintain flight level tree 70 Jody 1-2 tree.
So do as it says. There we go. So she should be climbing now. Whenever you enter a value into, say, the altitude, etc., make sure that when you turn it, press this one, the middle one, and not the outer one. That changes it to 100 feet, 1,000 feet, etc. You want to press this, select the altitude that you want, and then press X to activate it. Because at some point when I was learning, I didn't press X, and I'm like thinking, why is my aircraft not climbing, not decreasing? You must press the X button to activate anything like altitude or speed, etc. Otherwise it won't work. So yeah, that's very important to do that. So we are on, we just turned left, and we're just on our way to cruising altitude. So we'll just change our ND range so we can see a little bit more. It is sunny over the Philippines. Well, it was earlier, so we have changed the time slightly. There we go, so we can see our next waypoint. So just let the plane do whatever it wants. I'll put the controller down, just let it climb, let it do its thing, and then obviously there, if you need to, you know, take over the aircraft, but it seems stable enough. So yeah, basically just sit back, just wait for it to turn again, and then wait for it to get to altitude, and then once it gets to altitude I do other things that people would say are quite early in the flight, but it sets you up for landing, so you're not like thinking, oh god, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that all at the same time. If you do it now, you're not rushing for landing. So you basically, once you're at cruising altitude, you are setting the aircraft up to some extent for landing already. So just obviously be aware that, you know, there's a lot to landing. If you are a beginner, there's a lot of information to go through for landing a flight. So obviously if you are a beginner, it's sort of daunting to do all this information all at the same time. But I have a system on my notepad that has worked from the very start when I first started learning. Thanks to Rob, he was very patient with me, and we came up with a plan that works, and it's worked ever since for nearly 2 years. Of all the flights that I've done on my own and with Rob, I just go through my checklist, it's at the side of me now, and just go through it. You know, some things you can't bypass because you are used to doing it, But if I'm streaming and I get distracted, it's easy to get distracted because you're like thinking, what have I just done? What have I done? What have I haven't done? The manual like instructions that I've made for myself helps me if if someone talks to me on a stream. I can look at my pad and think, oh, have I done that? And then go to the next page. And then, just go through it as you would. Excuse me. Right, so here we are at 37,000 feet. We have met our cruising altitude. So what I tend to do once we're at cruising altitude, we can take off our taxi lights, put them to off. Then we can take our seat belts off. Here we go. And then what I tend to do is something very important pretty early in the flight, but it's setting us up for landing. You need to set your auto brakes to medium. This, I think it's something to do with braking. The auto brake kicks in once you land and put your throttles back to idle. It knows that you are landing, and that's when the speed brakes down here, when we set them to armed at the start of the flight, our speed brakes will kick in and they'll retract, and obviously our airplane will stop. So this is very important. You do need to put your speed brakes to armed, which they are from the start of the flight. Oh. Don't know why we're...
Jody 1-2 tree, you are 1,600 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain flight level tree 70.
Descend and maintain flight level tree 70, Jody 1-2 tree.
I want to set something that's not, something that's upset it. So just go down to A second, guys, I think I've done something that's upset it.
Jody 123, you are 1,100 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain flight level tree 70.
Climb and maintain flight level tree 70 Jody 123.
I think it's because I was doing too much to the aircraft. It was saying, wait, hang on, what were I doing? Normally it doesn't do this. It should obviously behave as it should do. But we are obviously climbing back to altitude. Normally it shouldn't do this. Because obviously I was trying to explain something, it's just like upset it a little bit. We did obviously accelerate up. In that case, make sure our throttles are back to CL position. Yeah, they are, so there's nothing wrong with those throttles. I think it just upset it a little bit when we was like looking at different things. So it's climbing back up. Let's just make sure it makes this turn. So yeah, it's turning back now. It's turning where it should be. So yeah, what I was doing was auto brakes. So these are important. So our little button here, you've got auto brake low, auto brake medium and auto brake max. You need to have them at auto brake medium. So you just press the A button basically. But to activate it, you've got to do the outside view. Don't ask me why, but you've got to do the outside view, inside view. Then you need to press it again. Then outside view, inside view, and then you can see that it's on. You need to make sure that that is on, otherwise your brakes won't work properly for landing, and yeah, basically we'll be in trouble. So yeah, that's basically it. I think we caught a bit of wind then, but yeah, I think that's what upset it. But yeah, you must remember at the start of the flight, when you're setting up your aircraft, have your speed brakes armed, and then you must have them once your aircraft is stable. Put auto brake to medium. You must do that. That is very important. Otherwise, your aircraft won't stop. So yeah, that's an important bit.
Jody 123, contact McTan Center on 127.5. Good day.
127.5 Jody 123. Goodbye. McTan Center Jody 123 flight level tree 70.
Jody 123, McTan Center radar contact. Continue to limbo.
So yeah, it's just as we're passing through air traffic, we're just, just continue. That's us passing through different airspace. So yeah, just let it do its thing. Just leave it. As long as your autopilot is active, it's fine. So as long as AP1 is lit red here, this one here, don't press it off because it deactivates it, but as long as that's green, then you're fine. It should maintain altitude and follow the green line. Sometimes it has moments, but that's when we do have to take over the aircraft, but for this instance we're fine. It's not gonna affect that. So yeah, at this point of the stream, this is where our flight is stable, so I just basically show some outside view and go in and out the cockpit, just to make sure that we are heading in the right direction. But for now we can see our descent altitude in 160 nautical miles, but for now our aircraft is stable, so yeah, we can just basically enjoy the view really. So outside view and enjoy, guys. So let's see where we are in relation to our waypoint. So our waypoint is in 120 nautical miles. So this is sort of like where you think about sort of if you are a beginner for, you know, this is where you'd probably think about how you're doing to prepare for landing. Obviously, the more experienced you are and more comfortable you are, obviously you can do it in whatever way you want, but this is how I started learning how to do the landing. At first, I must admit, it was a bit daunting, a bit confusing, a bit all over the place really. So yeah, it is a lot if you are a beginner, like start from scratch, I must admit. But it's I don't know really. It's sorry guys, the window cleaner's here. Cleaning the windows. Bear with me guys. There we go. Our window's nice and clean. Thank you, Mr. Window Cleaner. So what was I saying? So yeah. Prepare for landing basically. But yeah, not yet. Just think about it. But yeah, I have some sort of system for landing that is pretty much foolproof. It has worked every time I've landed at any airport, so I'll show you guys that with you. But I will say, on some particular flights, ATC might not tell you to descend, so that's why taking note of your descent waypoint is very important, because if ATC don't decide to say, oh, you need to think about landing, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. If you have your descent waypoint noted down in your notes, like, you know, just on a scrap of paper, I do like a scrap of paper, got all my altitudes and stuff that I need, you know, my climb altitude, etc, etc, what I need to do. I just have like a little notepad at the side of me and I just make notes like altitude, descent waypoint, everything that, you know. So if ATC don't say, oh, you should be descending, obviously you need to make a decision when you need to descend. So what I tend to do is wait a bit, I don't know, about, depends how long the arrival portion is. But when I first started, I got to the descent waypoint and then I started descending. Some people said, you know, it was too early for me to descend that quick. But if you are a beginner to the game, that's how you learn, and then you learn you know, of your distances, how far away you are from the airport. And once you get into it, you can use the flight plan. This, for example, and it tells the altitudes of what you're supposed to be at. But I started off by just doing it the way I'm going to show you. And, you know, once you're more comfortable with the altitudes, you can use the flight plan. So I might do a little bit of both, and you know, you can choose whatever you want to do. Because once I first started learning, I just got to the waypoint and I asked ATC to descend 4,000 feet. Got down to that altitude. Then once I got there, do another 4,000 feet. Obviously ask ATC before you do anything to the aircraft. So what I used to do is just 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 till I got to about 20,000 feet, something like that, or 18,000 feet, just above my altimeter. Then I did it that way, but now I'm sort of like learning the flight plan, so maybe go with the flight plan because it's more, especially if there's mountains and terrain, it's better to follow the flight plan because it tells you to be above a certain altitude, below a certain altitude, a flight level that you should be at. So I've sort of gone with that and used the flight plan instead of my own initiative, basically. Because you could be going like 4,000 feet, 4,000 feet, 4,000 feet, but you are guessing. And if obviously there is terrain in the way and you've got to be above a certain altitude, then you might be in trouble. So it's probably better to use the flight plan. It's pretty easy. It's like it's got the first one up here. I'll just take note of that. So let me just get a scrap paper. So our descent waypoint, I know, is the ARPLL. That is the name of the waypoint on the left side. Then the middle is the time that you'll get there, which don't really matter. Then the next column, next to Aurora, it says FL 370, which is 37,000 feet. So that is the top of our descent waypoint. The next one down from that is LINAO, and then it says 12,400, and then it's got an A. The A means that you've got to be above that altitude. So as long as I round it up to the nearest 1,000 feet. So as long as I'm above 13,000 feet, I am okay. So I can do whatever I want, whatever altitude I want. But certain points of the flight where it says FL and then an altitude like FL 370, that's where you must be at. So appeared another one, so DEWIN, that says 8850A, so that's again, if I'm above anywhere above that, I'm alright. So I round it up to the nearest 1,000, that's 9,000 feet. So it's pretty straightforward once you get obviously used to it. If you are obviously new, it is a little bit, I don't know, not confusing, but you just have to, you know, pay attention to what you're actually doing to the aircraft. And then I use another site, like an app on my phone, and it tells me the altitude I must be for my approach. So before I start flying, I take note of my approach altitude. Let me know in the comments if you do want like information like that, like the app that you're supposed to have. It's pretty straightforward how, you know, but I take note of my approach altitude just in case that the sim has been a bit dodgy. Because if you're not at the right altitude, you won't catch the glide slope, and then you won't be able to catch the ILS system. So it's pretty, you know, good to have your approach altitude so you know where you're supposed to be at and where you need to be at, basically. So we've got about 36 nautical miles away from descent. So we'll just take note of this. I'll just do it the way I do it. And yeah, as I say, it works. So yeah, it works, basically. What I might do also is after I finish the flight, I've got all my streaming sort of stuff out, so I might do some more on my house builder, live on YouTube if you want to check that out, guys, because I am going out late this evening, so I just started doing streaming day, because tomorrow on my day off I'm taking my sister to the Lincoln University Open Day, so we'll be out most of the day. Thursday back at work, and then Friday I've got the day off as well. Throughout November we're having Fridays off. So if I do get time, I might be able to fit a flight in on Friday, or if not, I might do some more house builder. I might just, you know, I might just chill out, because this week has just flown by already. You know, when you're at work it goes so slow. Yeah, we're only on Tuesday, but yeah, it just goes so slow. You know, at work. But yeah, we'll see what happens, and what we get round to doing. So we're nearly at descent waypoint. I will be just turning slightly right onto the arrival portion, which is sort of the green line on the map. I'm not interested in suspicious users. I'm just not interested in it all. So, kindly just go away. So yeah, we're just turning on to our arrival. Just watch it, because sometimes sometimes it's a bit weird and it turns like a bit weird. So just make sure that you do, obviously just check it. Obviously I'm just going to check these waypoints that are coming up. KLAFU. So I am writing them down. So 6500A. That's anything above 6,500 feet, so let's call it 7. Then the next one down is DAO. And that says basically 4,000 feet. So yeah, 4,000 feet straight. You know, that is your flight level, 4,000 feet approach. So sort of like not approach, but on the way to approach. So yeah, so what we'll do now is we have passed that, so past our waypoint, so just cross that out. So now we need to go down to, what did we say? We said above about 13,000 feet. So ask ATC, and then we go to altitude decrease. Ask for 4, it's fine.
McTan Center Jody 12 tree. Request flight level tree 0.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain flight level tree 0.
Yeah.
Descend and maintain flight level tree 0 Jody 12 tree.
But down we go. So yeah, just wait for the ATC to approve your altitude change. Sometimes they might say, because I asked 330, sometimes they might say, I'll go down to sometimes they say go down to 35 and then expect 33. So do as they say. If that's the case, go down to 35, and then once you get close to 35 they'll go to 33. So yeah, sometimes it does do that, but yeah, just go with it, just do as you're told. So there we are, we're nearly 33. So as long as we get to above 13,000 feet by the time we get to the next waypoint in 135 nautical miles, which is quite far away. You know, just keep chipping away at the altitude. That's how I learned. Obviously, the more experienced you are, you know when to exactly start descending. You get to know your aircraft and what it can do, how long it'll take you to descend to a certain altitude, etc. But this is how I've learned how to do it. Just take it nice and slow. Just ask for 4,000 feet and just slowly bring the aircraft down.
McTan Center Jody 12 Tree. Request flight level 290.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain flight level 290.
Descend and maintain flight level 290 Jody 12 Tree.
See, it's swerving, so it's off the line, so deactivate the autopilot, turn the aircraft, and then redo the autopilot by pressing Y. Sometimes it does upset it a little bit, but as long as it's going in the direction that it needs to, then it's fine. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it's fine. So yeah, just keep an eye on it. So we can see our airport. Our airport is like a magenta dot, so it's sort of like there. Magenta dot. That's our airport. But remember, we're flying sort of over the airport. This is the approach. This is like we fly over the airport, go out, and then come back in, which is similar to my local airport, Leeds Bradford. A lot of the time, because they've only got one runway, we're a bit skew with still. What was I saying? So yeah, Leeds Bradford, my local airport, it's just one runway. So it's either the two runways for land. They use obviously one direction for takeoff and then the other direction for landing. At Leeds Bradford, at the local one near me. And what they do on approach is similar to what I'm doing now. Is you fly over the airport, go back, go like sort of out, and then turn, and then back in. So it's similar to Leeds Bradford, but obviously all approaches are different. Some of them are zigzaggy, some of them are curved, some of them are straight. So it just depends on what approach you do choose, but obviously that's important when you do set up the flight. Just choose one that makes sense. Don't be choosing one that takes you all over the place. Just choose, one that makes sense. So yeah, at this point I just basically just go with the flow. We are going half the capacity of the aircraft, full engines, so just wait till we're a little bit closer. And then take some more altitude down. You can also do as well is that looks pretty close, doesn't it? Like the map on the radar, you can change the ND range so it looks, you know, more true. You know, we've got, you know, 89 nautical miles to go to the next waypoint, so we have got quite a fair way to go. Sometimes if you have the radar like zoomed out so you can see all the waypoints, it looks close to what it actually is. So once you get to your arrival, maybe fiddle with the ND range so you can see it more clearly. Like obviously from here we can't see the airport, but we know it's coming. We know that the next waypoint is coming, it's going to come into view shortly, but you don't want it to be too far out because, as I said, the waypoints will look closer, and I have done it in the past that, you know, it's confused me and it does look closer to what it actually is. So just take note of that. Actually. So yeah. So there we go, we've got our next waypoint in show now. So what we'll do now is we'll ask for another descent. So that's 4,000.
McTan Center Jody 12 Tree. Request flight level 250.
Jody 12 Tree descend and maintain flight level 250.
Descend and maintain flight level 250 Jody 12 Tree.
So as long as we're above that 12,400, so we're just going to aim to 13,000, it doesn't really matter. As long as we're above 12,400, it doesn't really matter, so yeah, just go with it really. tell, I've not done anything to the speed yet. We're just getting down to a certain amount of level. And then we go down to about 10,000 feet, and then that's when we'll be turning sort of the speed and doing the flaps, etc. But in the meantime, just bring your altitude down to a certain amount compared to what it says on the flight plan. See some more wiggling roads, see some sort of hills up there, mountains, see a shoreline there, sort of there as well. So yeah, what I like to do is I like to show the scenery off as well, which you can do whilst you're streaming once you're more stable and comfortable. I would advise that focus on the instruments the closer you get to landing. It's alright now because we're still descending, but yeah, another 4,000 feet please.
McTan Center Jody 12 Tree. Request flight level 210.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain flight level 210.
Descend and maintain flight level 210 Jody 12 Tree.
We're still descending to 210, which is 21,000 feet, just let it do its thing. Yeah, it will do its thing, just let it do it, and yeah, just continue. So we're nearly at 21. So we can see our airport is coming closer to all these nice sort of waypoints getting into it. Let's ask for another descent.
McTan Center Jody 12 Tree. Request 17,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain 17,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 17,000 feet Jody 12 Tree.
So now we're going below 18,000 feet. We will have to do the barometric pressure. Once we get below 18,000 feet, and then that's when our keyboard will come back into play. We'll have to press the B every so often to reset the altimeter for landing, which is very important, which you can do your altimeter on the dials here, but you need to know obviously where you are and what that's like for more advanced players. So that's why I've got a keyboard. So you need, for a beginner, I would advise that you get a keyboard, just like plain. I've just got a plain Logitech one, just a computer sort of one, and all you need is the button B, basically the letter B, and you just press that and it does it automatically for you. The dials down here are confusing to me still. It's so much better to do it by keyboard. So we're nearly 18,000. Below, so you press the A button and then press the X button. Sorry, A button and A button. Back. Press B to reset the altimeter on the keyboard. There we're going to change 2991. So as you descend, you have to keep pressing the B. So the arrival airport know you're on your way and know what altitude to give you for landing. If you leave it and don't press altimeter change, it will just go all weird and you just won't be able to land properly. So yeah, I pressed it again, it's gone to 2990. So yeah, having a keyboard for beginners is sort of good in a way. So we'll go down another 4,000 feet.
McTan Center Jody 12 Tree. Request 13,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain 13,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet Jody 12 Tree.
Here we go. So every descent that you do, just press the altimeter B on the keyboard. Yeah, just very important. Keep checking it, keep changing it. Because as you pass through all these waypoints, it's starting your descent into the airport basically. So it's important that you do check them. So I press it again, 2989. So yeah, it's very important that you do check it and keep pressing it basically. So God knows where the airport is, but it's over to the left of us. So I'm guessing just past that mountain maybe. Not too sure, my geography's not the best. So now we're going to 13,000 feet, which is above the 12,400 that we're supposed to be at for this waypoint. So what I tend to do is I just give it a little tick at the side so I know that I'm at that altitude that I'm meant to be at for that waypoint. Obviously you'll get your own sort of like system of how you want to do things, how you want to document things. As you get close to the airport, do the ND range as well, and going off course again. Here we go. Sometimes it ups sets it, so if you notice that the aircraft is turning, just deactivate the autopilot, turn the aircraft with the left front stick slightly, not too much, and then re-engage the autopilot, and then, yeah, we're fine. So we're just about to turn onto arrival, or arrival/approach. So it's like in between arrival and in between approach. Reset the altimeter again to 986. So we're just about to turn. So what I tend to do is I just watch this bit, because sometimes it does oversteer. Sometimes it does weird and wonderful things. Sometimes it gets confused, so whenever it turns, just don't do anything, just leave it, do the turn. And then look at your instrument, just make sure it is still turning in the direction that it's supposed to be. Now, it's supposed to be levelling out now, so just make sure it does start to level out and it doesn't continue to turn, because that will just end up in a spiral. So there we go, that's all good. We've all sort of levelled out, now we are levelling out. Reset the altimeter again by pressing B. So now our next waypoint, we need to be above 8,850, so we'll go to 9,000, and then this is when we'll be doing our flaps, etc., and our speed. So what's the difference between 9 and 13? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, so it's 4. So 4.
McTan Center Jody 12 tree. Request 9,000 feet.
Jody 12 tree descend and maintain 9,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 9,000 feet Jody 12 tree.
So do the altitude change first, so the aircraft can move down. Then you need to press this little doohickey here, your speed mark. Do it to 210. Change it. Press X, then press B. Then press your right joystick to go back to the middle. Then what I tend to do is, this might be a bit too early, but what I do is I put my taxi lights on. Taxi. Then I put my landing lights on. Then I put my seatbelt signs on. So before you extend your flaps, you need to be at 110. At the moment we're at 117. So where that blue mark is, here, that's where your speed is. So flaps down. Press D, press down on the D-pad, sorry, to get your first flaps down. Just do 1 flaps at the moment. waypoint there, so FF05 2200A, so that's like 3,000. Wait till we get to 9,000 and then ask for another descent. We are going through some mountains, so you've got to be careful. When it comes to mountains, just be careful of where your altitude is, because you don't want to be too low and crash into a mountain after all this flight, especially if it's a long flight. Like if you were to do like, I don't know, say my longest flight has been like 5 hours, 4-5 hours, my longest flight, so you don't want to mess it up at the last bit. So yeah, if you have got terrain, what I do is I'll actually look out the window. So obviously we've got a mountain there, so just watch that. You don't want to be too low. So yeah, you just have to sort of like judge it. Then we can go down to 7,000 feet, which is a difference of 2.
McTan Center Jody 123. Request 7,000 feet.
Jody 123 descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Descend and maintain 7,000 feet, Jody 123.
Do the altitude first. Then you need to be at 180 knots. So 180, press the X, press the B, press the R, trigger in, joystick, sorry. Reset the altimeter as well. And yeah, bring your aircraft down a little bit more. So gradual descents, especially over mountains. Because you don't want to do it too fast, too quick, because you're going to crash into a mountain basically. And that's not what you want. We've still got plenty of time because we've got that loop over the airport and then loop back. So just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep at it. Next one, CF05, and it just says like ditto marks. That means no change. We are pretty close to the mountains, so don't do any more descending. Just keep it as it is. So we're at 180 knots. Press down on the D-pad on your controller, flaps 2. Let it do it, just leave it. And then once I'll probably wait for it to go over the mountains, because you don't want to go too early with the next descent, basically, because you'll just crash into the mountain. So just wait till we've cleared
Jody
the mountain.
123, contact Devo approach on 122.4. Good day.
122.4 Jody 123. Goodbye. Devo approach Jody 123 7,000 feet.
Jody 123 Devo approach altimeter 29.85 radar contact. Continue to WECO. Jody 123, you are 21 miles northwest. Climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 05 approach 5 via Delta Alpha Oscar transition. Cleared to Delta Alpha Oscar.
So there we go,
Climb and
we're...
maintain 13,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 05 approach via Delta Alpha Oscar transition. Cleared to Delta Alpha Oscar Jody 12 tree.
So there we go, we've contacted the approach, it does it all on itself. As long as you press your altimeter, it does it itself. Obviously it's telling us to climb to 13,000 feet, but I'm not going to do that because by the time we get to 13,000 feet we'll be on the approach anyway. So sometimes you have to make that judgment whether or not to climb, whether or not to stay where you are. So just keep at it really, just ignore them because there's no point climbing to come back down. I don't think it'll let us descend anymore because so it won't let us descend anymore because our readings aren't there.
Jody 12 tree, please expedite your climb 13,000 feet.
So yeah, it's telling us to climb, but there's no point of climbing because like I say, by the time we've climbed back up it'll be time to come back down. So in this instance, ignore them and they'll just contact you when it's time to descend more. Change that so it doesn't look like it's coming so quick. We're about to fly over the airport as well. So the airport is to the right of us. So over there somewhere.
Jody 12 tree, please expedite your climb 13,000 feet.
No. So yeah, sometimes you have to make that judgment call because I'm not going to climb back up to 13,000 feet at this stage because you don't want to, to just forget it really. And sometimes on the approaches you just have to keep an eye on the path that it's taking because sometimes it goes
Jody
all over
12
the
tree,
shop.
descend and maintain 4,000 feet.
There we go.
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Jody 12 tree.
So sometimes you've got to ignore them in some cases, but yeah, it was just pointless to climb back up. So we've got our next altitude down, so we need to go down to 160. Press X, press B, press the right joystick in, reset altimeter. So as long as you've got this sort of routine, wait for the aircraft to get down to 160. Our speed's at this side here. So here, once it gets to that blue mark, that means you're at 160 and you can put the next flaps down. Before that, you will get obviously overspeed warnings and you might stall the aircraft, so just wait for it to do it. It will do it. Just have to be patient with it. Going into some cloud. Nice. So for landing, this is like the basic instruments that you need to look at because you need to look at your flight plan, your flight path, make sure that your airplane is going in the right way, the right direction, the right flight path. Make sure that your altimeter is changing and your speed as well and your altitude. That is what you need to look at for landing. Obviously it's a bit daunting at first, especially if you're a beginner and you're like thinking, oh god, am I doing it right? But yeah, end of the day, it's a simulation. If something does happen, you know, it's not the end of the world. That is what I've learned. You know, it's not the end of the world, it's a simulation. And yeah, you know, you learn, if you keep at it, just keep doing it. It just cracks, you know, it just happens, and you just do it by second nature. Flaps 3. And then because we're at 4,000 feet, we can go down to 140. Just so we're a little bit more stable and we're a bit more set up for the approach. So our airport is over there somewhere. We've got to go over it, out, and then back in. So we're at 140 now, so we can put flaps 4 down. There we go, all our flaps are down, ready for our arrival into the airport, so that's all good.
Jody
Right.
1-2 tree descend and maintain 2,200 feet.
We're on his way to the approach.
Descend and maintain 2,200 feet, Jody 1-2 tree.
So this is our final approach, so because it's 2,200 you need to press this and then change the altimeter to 2200. Press X. Hang on, don't think I've done it. So we're on his way to approach altitude. Our runway's there, so we're sort of flying over the airport to come back. But it's similar to Leeds Bradford really. Leeds Bradford is like this in the UK, my local airport. So yeah, it's pretty much the same principle. We're gonna fly back out and then fly back in.
2,500.
Yeah, it'll call out like these readings once it gets a certain level, but it's fine. You're going to your approach altitude, which is 2,200 feet, so just let it do it. It's just telling us we are above that certain altitude of sea level. So just let it do its thing. Oh wow. So I'll just show you a little bit outside as we do approach the airport. So our airport is back there, guys. So we're gonna turn shortly. Gonna turn very shortly and just turn back. Then we'll line up with the runway, and then we need to make sure once we're stable, we need to make sure that our speed brakes are armed, which they are. Need to make sure our auto brake is at medium where we set it earlier, which it is, otherwise our aircraft won't stop on the runway, so that's all good, it's all set up, all happy as Larry. Don't know why we're turning that way for. So yeah, if it looks weird about the turning, just deactivate the see, it's going all weird. Just let it do its turn, because it is a big turn. Let's go into this one, then it'll turn back over. It'll turn right. So we're going sort it out to come back in. Turning shortly.
Jody 123, you are 9 miles southwest of Davo. Contact Davo Tower on 118.1 when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.1 Jody 123. Davo Tower Jody 123 10 miles southwest inbound ALS runway 05 approach.
Jody 123 Davo Tower. Altimeter 29.8 tree, wind 171 at tree. Cleared ILS runway 05 approach.
Cleared ILS runway 05 approach Jody 123.
So that's just give us clearance to the ILS approach 05. So yeah, it's just giving us the clearance that we need. So we're just turning back now. Got a bit of a turn, so when you're turning the aircraft, just try not to do anything, just let it turn. Sometimes if you change altitude, do your flaps, do whatever, it sometimes can upset it, so just let it complete its turn and then do whatever you want to do with it. Just wait till it levels out. Got a bit of a turn. Got plenty of time. Now it's leveling out. Put the landing gear down, press the right on the D-pad. Our landing gear's down. And then we just have to do the LS mode, which is very important if you are choosing ILS approaches, which is easier for beginners. Sometimes it does go wrong and you've got to do a manual land, but ILS approaches are better for beginners, but obviously you do have to do certain things for it to work, otherwise it doesn't work, basically. So it's still going to turn a little tiny bit. We can see the runway, just nice and steady, let it do its turn, and then we need to hit the LS mode to find the tower. Wait for it to be in the middle, which it is, I think. Oh no, it ain't. What we're looking for is this diamond here at the bottom. It needs to be in the middle where the yellow line is, so it's sort of coming back now. So it's sort of there now. And then So there. Obviously, press the approach where your other diamond is sort of like in line with that yellow line. We are a little bit cockeyed, but we'll have
Jody 12 tree,
little
wind
look.
171 at tree.
See if it does it.
Clear
If
to
it
land
doesn't,
runway 05.
we'll just have to take over the aircraft to see
Clear
if it
to
does
land
it.
runway 05, Jody 12 tree.
So at this moment in the flight, just make sure that you are in this view. You need to see the runway. You need to see where you're going. So what we're going to do is wait for the airplane to take us to the foot of the runway. Then we take the autopilot off. Then as soon as we hit the tarmac, we press A and B together to reverse our throttle back to idle. Then we must flare the aircraft as well before that, otherwise we'll just bang down on the runway. So a bit of flare helps with that before we hit the tarmac. Also we need to lift the flaps as well by pressing the up button. Press the up button 4 times, and then as soon as you're steady on the runway, you just brake. You just press the X button and brake. So I'll try and explain it as I am doing it. Sometimes obviously they are a bit confusing of how to do it, but once you do it a few times, it does become easier. Trust me. And the more you practice your landings, the better you are. And we're a bit high, but it doesn't matter.
300. 200.
Autopilot off, straighten your aircraft up.
100.
Flare, lift
60,
your
50,
foot back on
40,
the thing.
30, 20.
Straighten it up.
Retard 5.
Press your B and A together. Oh, it wants to go back up. Whoops. There we go. So, whoa, we're going a bit too fast. There we
Jody
go,
12
made
tree,
it.
exit runway when able. Jody 12 tree, contact ground on 118.1.
118.1 Jody 12 tree. Goodbye.
So yeah, for this instance we do have to go back. Sorry guys, I told you wrong information. When you do land, you've got to press A and B together. I, for some reason, was pressing A and X. So yeah, it's A and B together to bring the things back to idle. We did a bit of a rubbish landing there because we did like a kangaroo hop. So it didn't stick to the runway, but the more landings you do, the better you are. So yeah, you just practice. So now we need to get in contact with contact ground on 1181. Oh, we've actually done it. So request taxi to
Davo
gates.
ground Jody 12 tree taxi to the gate.
Jody 12 tree, taxi to gate 12 via taxiway cross runway 2 tree, cross runway 2 tree.
Taxiing to gate 12 via taxiway cross runway 2 tree, cross runway 2 tree Jody 12 tree.
So we're technically going back on the runway, but that's obviously the only way we can get to the gate, because we pretty much nearly came off it, but it's fine. I was trying to explain it, what we actually do for landing. So normally I'm pretty focused of what I'm supposed to be doing for landing, so my advice is concentrate on the landing, and if you are streaming, don't talk during the landing, otherwise you will make mistakes. But yeah, we recovered anyway, so it's fine. So yeah, it tells us where to go, where it wants us to park up. To show where it wants us to go. There's nobody on the runway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go straight forward. There's nobody around us. In some cases, obviously, if there was another plane coming in to land, I'd go like sort of in there, wait for them to land and then come back out. But there's nobody here, so just go straight forward. Not too sure what that is on the runway. Oh, I thought they struck. Don't worry, you don't crash into stuff. You don't get told off for collisions, so it's all good. So it's only a small airport here, so yeah, just go to the one it assigns you to. And then once you obviously park up and stuff, it lets us, you know, obviously do our breakdown and stuff, and see how many hours we've got, etc. There we go, turn that way. And then turn back on. What we do is we just keep going to the line. And then you'll know you're far enough, because that jetway connection will come towards you, which it is. It'll hook onto us there, the door will open, so we need to be nearly spotting here. Or is it that one? top one. So you just press that and just acknowledge it. It hasn't joined onto us right, but it's alright, doesn't matter. So what I tend to do is I get the plug-in, the baggage and the catering. Just for a
Davo
bit
Ground
of
Jody
fancy.
12 Tree, could you please send the baggage?
Jody 12 Tree baggage is on the way.
Davo Ground Jody 12 Tree, could you please send a ground power unit?
Jody 12 Tree, a ground power unit is on the road.
Davo
There
Ground
we
Jody
go.
12 Tree, could you please send the catering truck?
Jody 12 Tree, the catering truck is on the road.
So in this instance, this is where I take my picture just for Discord, just to tell people that I made it in one piece. So let me just... take this picture. There we go, so welcome to, what is it, Francisco, Bangoy or something. So yeah, that is the flight done. So what I tend to do is I do my flight breakdown. So it tells you how many hours you've been flying, etc. So it's, I think it's RB and right trigger stick, no, left trigger stick. Sorry, it's RB and then left on the D-pad. So that's our breakdown, sort of like we've been flying 1 hour 39 and no night flying, we've done all day flying, then it just says like takeoffs and landings like both in the day, and then at the bottom it just tells your overall total. I've done 191 hours in the sim in total. We've done 53 in the night, well nearly 54, and then we've done 137 in the day. So our majority has been in the day. We've done more takeoffs in the day and more landings in the day. But obviously, this part of the world, I do want to explore this part of the world, so that's why I'm doing a lot of day landings and a bit day takeoffs, because I do want to see, obviously, the sights of what's there. But you can, it's up to you whether you fly live or, but I do fly live weather. And let me just show you how to do that. So you go to press your pause on continue, sorry. So pause button. So if you go to, can't remember. So if you go to, I think it's your, is it your name? No. Control option. I don't know how you actually do it. Oh no, it's actually in the main menu. So I'll just show you that, just for, just for people that, that don't know. Main menu Y. So let me just show you guys like what settings I have. Obviously again it's up to you like what you want them to be. So not that. Not too sure like how you. Oh, I know where it is. It's on the wheel map. So if you go to wheel map, go to flight conditions, and then here, I've got multiplayer on, so I've got all players. Then air traffic I've got off because otherwise you sort of like there's everyone, there's everyone, like live traffic, like as if it was live now. And then obviously weather and time I do live as well. So yeah, that's it everyone for today's live stream, guys. I hope it was informative to all the beginners out there who are thinking about getting the same. I've got the same, are a little stuck or anything, but yeah, that's the best I can do for you guys. But the best advice I can give you is try follow the instructions. You can pause at whatever time you want, make them notes. That's how I learn. And then also I learned by maybe going from one airport to another, like maybe because I'm from the UK, I used to do like Leeds, Bradford to Belfast and back, or Edinburgh to um, Edinburgh to Heathrow, something like that. Just little flights. Don't do big flights at the start. Just do like little flights, just like a short hop. Um, but yeah, other advice is just practice, practice, practice. Do the flight school and things like that. But once you get it, once you got into a routine, it'll just click in there and you'll just do it by second nature. But yeah, hopefully everyone's enjoyed this. As always, I will be downloading and uploading this YouTube video to premiere tomorrow, which is the 6th of November, a week before my birthday. Yeah, my birthday is next Wednesday, guys. So as I said, the Farming Sim 25 is released next Tuesday. So a week today. So next Tuesday, I'm more likely to be on Farming Sim 25. So if you want to catch that, check out my YouTube. I'll be live on that. Um, But yeah, as for next week's flight, I'm not too sure. I might do one at the weekend or I might do one on Friday because I have got the day off. But I'll just see as I can fit them in. But our next flight will be from here where we've landed today to somewhere else in the Philippines. We are heading south. I'll just show you. Oh, wrong way. So we are here at the moment, and I think we're going further south, towards like sort of Australia. That is like my main point where I want to go to Australia, and then maybe back up, and then maybe try get across to Canada. But yeah, um, I sort of want to go around America. I want to sort of like go through all the 50 states, well, all the states. I think there's more than 50 states now. Um, but yeah, I think that's where I want to go. Like, obviously, Florida, I've been to. Like, this is where the hurricane has just been. Like, Tampa was well bad affected, and then Orlando, where Disneyland is. I've been here, I've been to Orlando. But where we went to was Sanford. We landed at Sanford, wherever the heck that is in Florida. Um, Kennedy Space Centre, I've been there. So yeah, I've been there in real life, been to Kennedy for the Space Centre, I've seen a shuttle launch and stuff like that. Where else have I been? I've been to Orlando, obviously. Not too sure where Sanford is. Sanford. Oh, there, Sanford. Here, this is where we landed. When we went to Florida about, well, it'll be 20 years next year since I went to Disney. So we stayed at Kissimmee, at a villa which is round here somewhere, and then we hired sort of a minibus. There was like 11 of us that went, and then that's when we drove into sort of like Disneyland and things like that. So I'm not too sure like where Disneyland is into relation because it's not pinpointed on the map as like a a spot to go see. But yeah, that is like sort of like um my thing where I want to go next is go around America, Canada, and things like that, and go down here to like South America, and then I don't know. This hop across the Atlantic will be a long one. It's probably about 9 hour flight. So what I'll probably do is probably go around America, go back to sort of like there if I can, and then make my way back into Europe. But back then we'll be in Microsoft 2024. So that comes out. Oh, there's someone coming into Leeds Bradford, into my local airport. Silky Peach. So yeah, that is sort of like my plan. Obviously, on the 19th, Flight Sim 24 is out, so I'm not too sure what will happen. I'm guessing I'll have to download like all my stuff again, and hopefully it'll transfer across. Maybe do all my settings again. So if you are thinking about getting the new one, you might have to do your settings again. Hopefully your data does transfer across, but I'm not too sure about that. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, this is my local airport, Leeds Bradford. So I'll just show you guys. Oh, there's somebody coming into Leeds Bradford. So yeah, as you can see, there's just one runway basically. So they use one direction for landing and one direction for takeoff basically. It's a really small airport and it's the highest in England, I think. It's really high up. When it snows, it snows bad, and when it's windy, it's really bad as well. So I'm not going to show you guys where I live, but Leeds Bradford is here. And where I live is I'm on the flight path into Leeds Bradford basically. So I'm sort of like in between Leeds, like sort of around this area here. So Leeds, Pudsey, Morley, went to uni in Bradford, been to Shipley, Bingley, Keighley, yeah, all sort of know that sort of area. Someone else is coming into Leeds Bradford. But yeah, the flight path is weird because you sort of like fly over Leeds, sort of like Elland Road is somewhere where Leeds United play my local team. Leeds is Elland Road is here. Elland Road is here. So that's the Leeds United Stadium, just for, So, like, on a flight, they come, like, sort of up here past Ellen Road, like, into Leeds City Centre, and then they do, like, a loop round into Leeds Bradford and then back. So, yeah, that's what they do anyway with that flight, interlocal flight. But yeah, hopefully everyone has enjoyed. I'll be doing the upload and the downloading the upload. I'll let you know about the next flight, but not too sure yet. But I'll keep you all informed on the Discord. Enjoy the rest of your day, evening, etc., wherever you are in the world, and take care. Bye for now, guys. Bye, guys.